Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, two-run shot to right.
Well, we're back home. Welcome to Audubon at the Hank Greenberg Field for the first round of the Ralph Shaw Classic 27th Annual. As you can see behind us, rain has come to save the day. A couple drops came down. Hold on. Just fixing something with our camera there. Let's see. Oh, gonna have to fix something in that regard. I see what the issue is. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll come back with Bishop Eustace and Kingsway. All right, now we should be good to go. Bishop Eustace and Kingsway, always an instant classic here in Audubon. Of course, 3 years ago, the first time we covered the Ralph Shaw, Kingsway won 3-0 on a 3-run shot by Carter Williams. 2023, Nate Mayers, walk-off single. 2024, walk-off bunt by Zach Bragg. And we'll see what the first round has in store in 2025. Our fourth year of covering Ralph Shaw, unfortunately, will only be at the Saturday games today. Unfortunately, have a prior gig. Can't make it to Sunday. We'll be down in Egg Harbor. But the right-hander for Kingsway starting us off will be Nate Bott, and we're going to take a look at what Bishop Eustace has to offer with their starting lineup, brought to you by Harper Driving School. For the Crusaders, it's Dante Bell leading off today. Roman Fayola will be the second slot. J.J. McLaughlin is in the 3. Batting cleanup is Max Sullivan. The sophomore Dante Matarese is the number 5 hitter. Franco Iannone, another youngster, takes the number 6 spot. Mason Rosenberg in 7th. Gabe Yates in 8th, and Gabe Rogers in 9th. The LaSalle Explorers commit, Lucas Edwards, is the right-hander for the Crusaders, as we've got back-to-back Division I commitments with, of course, Nate Bott out of Delaware and Lucas Edwards out of LaSalle. We were curious if Daniel Pasalacqua was going to start for Bishop Eustace, which is also a Delaware commit, but the stars did not align for that, and now we've got Bott versus Edwards in Game 1.
Yeah, this is going to be a good matchup between Kingsway and Bishop Eustace. Is always here, as you mentioned, in the Ralph Shaw Classic. Bishop Eustace is coming off an 8-1 loss against Cherokee the other day, and Kingsway 1-1 with a win over GCIT and a 4-0 loss to the powerhouse, Gloucester Catholic.
Which is where we were on Wednesday. Here's Dante Bell. Didn't get positions from Coach Tropiano, but of course can't be mad at him, the most legendary and most winningest head coach in South Jersey. Nate Bott, the commit to the University of Delaware, kicks and delivers, and the Ralph Shaw Classic is underway with a fly ball to right, and it's caught for out number 1. Very quick beginning there to Game 1. 1 up, 1 down. Here is Roman Fayola. Bishop Eustace coming into this game 0-1, as you mentioned, an 8-1 loss to Cherokee.
Yeah, Eamon McDermott pitched that game for Bishop Eustace. He was excellent. And then was pulled, and the bullpen kind of let down Bishop Eustace. Brett Jackson, the infielder for Cherokee, hit a grand slam, and then they just kind of routed it on en route to an 8-1 win.
Rain coming down here in Audubon at the Hank Greenberg Field, but yeah, I mean, that was a very good game to open up their season over on Route 70. We'll be there back at Bishop Eustace on Friday, April 11th, versus your alma mater, David, Seneca, and the Golden Eagles. Count is 0-1. To the lefty Fayola, that one's down.
with the rain dropping here for the pitchers, you obviously got to keep the ball dry. You got to make sure you're good to go for a pitcher. It's not fun to pitch in the rain for anybody.
Swing and a miss there, 1-2. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is the kind of situation where we weren't even sure if this game was going to be played on time. Sunday's games have been moved up because of the rain overnight expected, as the 1-2 skips low and in. And sometimes you have trouble gripping onto the baseball in that situation. Sometimes you just straight up have trouble gripping onto it. As you saw there, held onto the ball for a little bit too long. Sometimes you see balls go all over the place in the rain, and it's never easy to counteract that. So we'll see how Bishop Eustace and Kingsway handle it on the mound. 2-2 from Bott. Flied out towards left. It'll go foul. The defensive lineup for the Dragons today is going to see Logan Taylor at shortstop. We're going to have in the infield Ashton Ford behind the dish. Dylan Rickards, the commit to Wilmington, at first base. You've got Braden Thorpe at second. Kyle Shields at third, Logan Taylor at short. And then in the outfield, Austin Schmidt in left, Cam Stevenson in center, and Dylan Patero in right. Basically copy and paste lineup from Wednesday's game at Kingsway versus Gloucester Catholic, a game that GC won 4-0. 4 runs in the 4th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out. A lengthy at-bat here for the youngster outfielder, Faiola. As Nate Bott, the right-hander, sets in. 2-2. Swing and a grounder foul. Rain really starting to pick up here. This is deja vu from 2023, where we had rain in Game 1 of this 2-game set, and then Game 2 was only played through the 6th inning. Tyler Wiltsey basically hit the equivalent of a walk-off home run because he hit a homer, and then 2 batters later, or 3 batters later, the game ended up just going into a downpour with a whole bunch of thunder and lightning. Strike 3 on the inside corner. Faiola down on strikes, out number 2. Really like that pitch selection there from Bott. Drove the fastball inside and took care of business.
Yep, ran right inside off the front hit and got him. Look at.
That will bring up J.J. McLaughlin. 289 average as a sophomore, 311 slugging, 1 extra base hit, 5 walks, 11 RBIs, 13 for 45 all told. Had a walk in 2 at-bats versus Cherokee on Tuesday. Strike called, 0-1.
Good off-speed pitch there.
Sometimes it's a little bit bold for a guy like Bott to throw an off-speed in the rain, especially that one that had a lot of break to it. Sometimes it doesn't act the way that you want it to. And again, this isn't Major League Baseball. You're not getting a new baseball every 5 or 6 pitches. You are getting the baseball until it goes out into the street. So that ball can get a little bit heavier, can get a little bit waterlogged. It can have some scuffs on it. And you can dance with it a little bit. Skipped foul back to home plate, and it's 1-2. First 3 for Kingsway in the bottom of the 1st inning for the Dragons. It's going to be Logan Taylor, the shortstop, Kyle Shields, the 3rd baseman, and Dylan Rickards, the 1st baseman, in the 3 spot. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A clean first so far for the Blue Hen, Nate Bott. 1-2. In the dirt there, 2-2. Held on to that one a little too long. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Right-hander is ready to go. He kicks and delivers. Fastball popped up. First base side. That one's going to go out on the Pine Street. Actually, Walnut Street out there. The 27th annual Ralph Shaw Classic started in 1998 during the early tenure, during the 90s three-peat under Coach Rich Horan, entering his 32nd year. Actually, 33rd year with the Green Wave, starting in 1992. Ground ball foul. One of 5 head coaches in South Jersey to have over 600 wins. Russ Spicer, Lee Ware, Sam Tropiano, the coach for Bishop Eustace. And I believe Rich Bender is the other one to accrue 600 wins. He got his versus Paulsboro in April of last year. 2-2 from Bott versus the number 3 hitter, McLaughlin. The junior lines this one into right center field. It gets past the glove into right field for a base hit. Thorpe picks it up, and a 2-out single gets the offense fired up for the black and white. Bishop Eustace with a 2-out knock.
really good at bat there. He got down early and then battled away, fouled off a couple pitches, and then a line drive right in the right center field.
I mean, this inning could end now, and it would still be a really productive inning for Bishop Eustace. They've forced Bott to get up to 16 pitches here in the first, and now they have an opportunity to counter that with the offense in the bottom of the first and get themselves a little bit more sound on the defense. But two really good at-bats back-to-back by Faola and McLaughlin. Outside, 1-0. That pressure starting to mount a little bit for Max Sullivan, or against Max Sullivan, I should say. Again, the junior second baseman. Sullivan committed to Penn in the Ivy League. I mean, Bishop Eustace and Kingsway both full of high-level commitments. 292 career hitter, 417 career slugger. Went 3 for 11 last year. I mean, that's how you know Bishop Eustace is just that good. He's a Division I committed to a relatively good school in Penn, and he's only had 24 career at-bats across 2 seasons. Only had 11 last year. That's how good this Bishop Eustace team is.
Yeah, they're always good in and year out. I mean, like, this year they got to get past Gloucester Catholic if they want to be even more successful, and that's really the battle in the South Jersey non-publics, Gloucester Catholic, Bishop Eustace, every year, and the fans are always there wanting it.
It's one of those classic matchups as that throw almost got away from Rickards. A beautiful save at first. As that back pick behind the plate by the junior Ashton Ford almost went down the right field line, but they're able to save it, and it stays alive, 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Kingsway's dugout chirping a little bit. Grounder foul that ricochets off the wooden panel, and it's 2-2. That's how forceful that wooden panel is. That ball went out to right field, and it hit off of the basically where the on-deck circle is, where Iannone is, or rather Dante Matarese. Still, they installed that in 2023. They originally just had a chain link fence back there, but it's relatively new. In addition to a handful of new changes to the facility, including a new scoreboard. But a winning program needs winning facilities, right? 2-1. Swing and a miss. He'll get down to second, and the inning is over. Nate Bott with a strikeout. I think they had the scorecard wrong in left center, but the inning is over. Nate Bott picks up a strikeout. Eustace gets a late hit, but they're still productive, forcing Bott to throw 21 pitches. We're through a half inning here at Audubon. Kingsway will grab their bats. Welcome back on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Let's take a look at what Kingsway's got in order for the legendary head coach Bill Alvaro Jr. and the Kingsway Dragons. Logan Taylor is the shortstop batting leadoff. Kyle Shields is the third baseman batting second. Dylan Rickards at first. Dylan Patero in right field. Braden Thorpe is the second baseman. Austin Schmidt is in left. Nate Bott is the pitcher batting seventh, the Delaware commit. Then you've got Cam Stevenson in center. Ashton Ford behind the plate. Right-hander for Bishop Eustace, Lucas Edwards, committed to LaSalle, home of the Explorers. First pitch.
Yeah, last year Lucas Edwards, 28 in the third innings, 10 runs, just 8 earned, a 1.98 ERA.
Very impressive there. Of course, LaSalle recruiting a lot of South Jersey. Chase Birchfield out of Pennsville. Jake Manganiello out of Williamstown, among others. Not to mention Pete Rose's grandson, as there's a fly ball out to right field. Out number one. LaSalle closed their program after the 2018 season, which, you know, the Philly Big Five, Villanova, St. Joe's, LaSalle, what am I forgetting? Penn and Temple? Is that what I'm thinking? Yeah. You know, those Big Five, I always love watching the basketball tournament that they have every year, but LaSalle had always kind of been a little bit out of the picture because they don't have baseball, they don't have football. Believe they're missing a couple of other key sports, but now they're bringing back baseball for 2026, and like we said, they're recruiting a very good roster for that first campaign and recruiting, obviously, members of the class of 2026. 1-0 outside there by Edwards to Shields.
Yeah, there's a lot of good South Jersey baseball players, and for the Big Five, why not recruit them? It's right over the bridge.
Exactly. Just like we were talking about with Delaware, Nate Bott going there, and then Grant Fournier, Cherry Hill West, also Delaware commit, you know, right over the bridge in Wilmington. And then, as we said, for the Big Five, Temple doesn't have baseball. Penn obviously does, but there's a tapper right in front of the mound on a bunt. Throw to first is in plenty of time. 2 up, 2 down. And looks like we could have another clean first inning here in the first round between the Crusaders and the Dragons. That'll bring up Dylan Rickards. Rickards played hero last year, game-tying double against the Crusaders. They were down 4-3, tied the game on a double to right center field, and then Zach Bragg set him up with a game-winning bunt in the bottom of the 7th inning. So it'll be fun to see him bat again. Last year was his first varsity season. Now he's at the limelight with the Dragons batting in the 3 spot. Strike called. Got it right down the pipe, 0-1. Don't forget, folks, we'll be also on the air for the 2 o'clock game today between Camden Catholic and Audubon. David Cohen, my good friend who's joining me today in the booth, will be on the call. And Jake Steidler, Audubon student, will be joining him on color commentary. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bishop Eustace got a lot of pitchers with some funky deliveries. Edwards and Chase Brandt. It's kind of like 3 quarters for Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, Mac wasn't exactly traditional either last year. No. Neither was Jack Kirchner. And maybe that's just the way that they're taught. Throw the way that your body wants you to throw it, and then it works. I mean, Landon Mack and Jack Kirchner both lighting it up over at Rutgers. And, of course, Landon Mack last year won tournament MVP. Or, no, he won team MVP in the tournament for Eustace. But he hit 2 home runs and then also threw, like, 6 shutout innings last year. So Eustace is one of those teams that can just retool year after commencement. Here's the 2-2. Downstairs, 3-2 to Rickards. Lucas Edwards, as you mentioned, 28 in the 3rd innings for him, but loaded with a whole bunch of good pitchers. As we said, Chase Brandt, I believe, committed to Wagner, Mason Rosenberg, Franco Iannone, the aforementioned Edwards, and as we said, I thought Dan Pasalacqua would start, but maybe he'll get the Sunday start, depending on where Bishop Eustace advances. Look out in the road, almost hit that truck.
Just in the front yard of the house.
Oh, that's very common. That green house and the brick house over there on the left, those have been hit no less than 100 times, with just pelted with baseballs, like we're in a war zone. 3-2. Fouled back again. Rickards going to stay it alive. Shockingly, I did games here for 3 years, from 22 to 24. Not once did I see a car window broken or a house window broken. I can't believe that I haven't seen one.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Just don't do it with my car. Don't break the streak that way. Rickards laces it. Speaking of, you're going to kill me, David.
Good at bat from here, from Rickards, working the pitch count up for Edwards, just like we saw with Bishop Eustace in the last half inning.
Well, this will be pitch number 14 for the right-hander Edwards, and this time, ball 4. Good call. A little bit up and away. I mean, that was exactly what you wanted there from Dylan Rickards. Productive at bat and get on base. That's a 2-for-1 deal right there. And they end up finding a way to get him on base for Patero, the right fielder, who's going to be batting in the cleanup spot here. Kingsway 1-1. They beat GCIT 6-5 on Monday on opening day, and a lollipop pickoff throw to first. It was a Jamie Moyer throw, and then, of course, they lost to Gloucester Catholic 4-0. Rickards and Patero both commits to Wilmington, the Division II university, home of the Wildcats. Funny enough, the only Division II college to be covered on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Back in October of 23, did a college softball showcase, and they played Salem Community College. Wilmington won that game 11-0, so they're undefeated. We've done a whole bunch of NCAA Division IIIs, and that one hit off the back net, so foul ball, and it's 0-2. But still, getting pretty high up there. Still 0-2, though. Oh-2 is high. Runner does go. Delayed throw goes out towards center field. It's saved at second base. As coming in to save the day is J.J. McLaughlin. As it looked like the intended tag was on Max Sullivan, the shortstop, but instead he had to come in and avoid basically a disaster. And the count is 1-2 here. So after what looked like a productive start to the inning, well, guess what? Eustace and Edwards is already up to 17 pitches. Here's number 18, and it's outside, 2-2. Both of these pitchers really working up their pitch count early, but this is what good baseball teams do. You know, it's not just home runs and hits and doubles. It's mind games. It's mind-bending amounts of trickery to make sure that you extend those at-bats, to get in the pitcher's head. I mean, David, you know, you spend a lot of time doing that as well over at Seneca. It's a difficult task. And especially in a high-caliber matchup like this, both of these teams just playing with their heads at this point.
Yeah, the objective has got to be to get into the bullpen for both sides. And 21 pitches for Kingsway in the first, 19 now here for Eustace. But
that one was outside.
Even
Edwards didn't agree with it.
Even if you don't score here, it's still kind of a win-win situation because you did get up to the pitch count.
Both runners for both teams. Now Kingsway getting into scoring position. That is strike 3 on the inside corner. Strike zone a little inconsistent in the first, but we stay scoreless. Both teams trade off some base runners, but neither cross the plate. We're through 1 here in the Hank Greenberg Field at the Ralph Shaw Classic. No score. We'll be right back. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, this broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. Checking in for the top of the second inning here in the Ralph Shaw Classic. Sorry, camera got a little bit discombobulated there. As the lefty stepping in for the Crusaders. Grounds this one up the third baseline. It's fair. Into the left field corner for Matares, the sophomore. Be picked up, and he will glide in the second, standing with a double to lead off the second. Really good piece of hitting there from Matares, attacking early in the count, getting himself out there, and now he pays for it, or at least pays for it in a good way, with leadoff double.
Yeah, let the ball travel well into the zone and put it down the third base line. Lead off double for the Crusaders.
And that's never easy to get off in the inning to a good start, especially after forcing Bott to throw 21 pitches last time out. You know, now that he's getting into the groove, he just had a little time to sit down. He just had a little bit of time to regroup and regather. Well, guess what? Now he's right back into it, giving up that leadoff double, and that's not an easy pill to swallow. Runner in scoring position to start the inning, especially after a bit of an intense first inning, bringing 2 of his 3 at-bats to a full count.
Well, with Bishop Eustace, there's no free outs in the lineup. Every at-bat is going to be a test, and you have to work through it. But Bill Alvaro trusts his pitcher, so gives him the test here against a very good team.
He has 460 career wins for a reason. 16 years at Washington Township for Bill Alvaro Jr., of course, the son of Bill Alvaro Sr., another very famous head coach here in South Jersey. Was there at Washington Township from 2002 to 2018. Won a sectional title back in 2007 with the Minutemen in South Jersey Group 4. And then left in 2018 due to family reasons. Came back in 2019 to the Kingsway Dragons. This one is hit out towards left field again. It's fair this time. And runner will hold at second as Franco Iannone flies out to left field. Out number 1. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Bit of a rainy Saturday, but still keeping it going here. We had some skies open up in the early going, but things are starting to be a little bit more intermittent now. As the batter for the Crusaders will be the number 7 man, Mason Rosenberg. The junior, 5'10", 185, 333 average last year, 4 for 12, had 8 RBIs and a homer. Went 0 for 3 in the opening day, lost to Cherokee. 0-1. No balls, 1 strike.
Bishop
1-1.
Bishop Eustace being thrown into the fire early. Cherokee, they're stacked this year. They have.
Oh, they took a huge step forward.
They got a lot of pitchers. They faced Brett Gable and Henry Radbill. And I read an article that the Cherokee head coach said that Henry Radbill, he's not a relief pitcher, but they have senior trip coming up, so they used a 1-2 punch against Bishop Eustace, and it worked in their advantage.
There you go. Radbill, the left-hander, committed to Rutgers. Ground ball over the middle. That one is going to be stopped. Throw to first. How about it? Hold on here. They're going to say he stepped off the bag, or Sam Tropiano's coming out.
The call on the field was out.
Call on the field was out. And now, of course, Sam Tropiano disagreeing with the call. They overturn it. Runner is safe. Bill Alvaro will now get up from his chair. And with a little mound visit here, the runner is now safe at first. That was a tough call. A very slick play at short by Logan Taylor, but I think Rickards pulled off the bag.
When that ball was hit, I thought it's getting through, or he's going to just reach out and infield single. But Logan Taylor made one great play out there and just pulled the foot at first base.
Very weird there. Alvaro getting a confirmation about the call.
It was a good stretch at first base.
So with one out, I'm going to have a runner on the corners here. Strike called. 0-1. They're over to first, not in time. Runners on the corners here. Just about 11:30 here from Hank Greenberg Field in Audubon. Strike called. It's 0-2 very quickly here. Floated out towards second base. Runner almost got in the way. Run will score. And Bishop Eustace takes a 1-0 lead. Sorry to adjust our camera there for a second. David's mic was a little bit low, but should be fixed now as Bishop Eustace has the first bite in the opening round. 1-0.
Really good, productive out there, and good base running to just try to maybe throw off the second baseman there.
Yeah, he got basically right in the path of the ball. Was able to get it home. Bringing up the number 9 hitter, Gabe Rogers. Another first pitch grounder. This is in the infield. This throw is wide. Up the line. Rickards now brings it and pump fakes the third. And another runner will get on the corners as Bishop Eustace, just like the last 2 or 3 years in a row, scores first and now is threatening with more with 2 away. Brings us back to the top for Dante Bell. Just really like this hitting that Bishop Eustace is all about here.
They're doing a good job just putting the ball in play. And when you put the ball in play, good things happen.
That's what Dan Haverstick said word for word against Cherry Hill East yesterday. He said if you put the ball in play, good things will happen. Again, it's not been overly flashy. It's not like Landon Mack last year. We had 2 home runs in last year's tournament. Runner goes. Pitches down, and he's going to get in there safely, uncontested. One ball, no strikes. This will be pitch number 34 for Nate Bott as he's going to try to get out of the jam with 2 outs in the second.
He's got to get it out right here. Not on this pitch, but on this batter. Get back in the dugout and go hit.
Especially with Kingsway down 1. They'll be batting 5, 6, and 7. Braden Thorpe, Austin Schmidt, and the pitcher Nate Bott. 1 ball, 1 strike. You're watching coverage of the 27th Annual Ralph Shaw Classic on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. We'll be on the air on Sunday in Egg Harbor Township for American Ball Hockey Alliance action over in Egg Harbor. Got the Penguin Division, the Beavers, the Cadets, and the Freshmen all in a row over at Egg Harbor in the Veterans Memorial Tournament. Tune in at 12 noon for more action in the street hockey scene here in South Jersey. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. And Bott with 2 runners in scoring position. Ball launched, left field. It is off the bottom of the wall. 2 runs are going to come in and say hello to Dante Bell. He just rung the bell. 3-0 Crusaders. That ball almost got over the 320 sign in left field, stays in the ballpark, and a very valuable hit there off the bat of Bell. 2-run double, and the Crusaders now lead by 3.
Great piece of hitting by Bell.
Excellent.
Stayed back on the off-speed pitch and just clobbered it. I thought it had a chance to get out with a 100.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but Bishop Eustace has put up a 3 spot in the first inning, matching the amount of runs that they scored last year in the opening game in the first weekend of April. As now here is the left-hander Fayola facing Bott. First pitch, grounded into shortstop's glove. Taylor couldn't come up with it. Now they're going to throw to third on the back pick. They got him. Bishop Eustace got a little bit too greedy. They chewed off more than they could swallow, and the runner at third is retired to end the inning. However, a very nice Logan Taylor play is preceded by a 2-run double by Dante Bell. And overall, a 3 slot in the top of the second inning. Kingsway's got some work to do. They trail 3-0. Welcome back to the Ralph Shaw Classic. Bishop Eustace just put up a 3 spot in the top of the second inning. We now return to the Kingsway lineup, as it will be, looks like leading it off, going to be Thorpe. 5, 6, and 7. Thorpe, Schmidt, and Bott. The right-handed pitcher skips low as Edwards couldn't hit the mark there. The last 3 years in the opening round of the Ralph Shaw Tournament, Bishop Eustace has thrown a Division I commit. 2023 was Jack Kirchner, who's over at Rutgers now. 2024 was Landon Mack, who is also at Rutgers. And then Lucas Edwards breaks the streak with his commitment to LaSalle. Bishop Eustace with plenty of Division I talent. As we said, Max Edwards, Daniel Pasalacqua to Delaware. Eamon McDermott, I'm not sure where he's committed currently, but I know it was a Division I and then he decommitted. But the Olympic Conference is just so chock full of talent. It's almost absurd how good it is.
I will take it to my grave that's the best conference.
Oh, what a catch in right. He fell down. I apologize for cutting you off, but a beautiful catch in right. Maybe not intentional as he fell down. That was like the dude perfect stereotype, a dive standing up, and it's out number 1 as the right fielder comes up with it almost by accident, as it looks like he took a stumble, but he makes the catch anyway for out number 1. You were saying, David?
I was saying that the Olympic Conference I'll take to my grave is the best conference in South Jersey baseball.
I agree. I mean, it's kind of like algorithmically built to be that way, where it's the big schools from all over. You've got schools as far away from as Rancocas Valley playing teams as far south as, like, you know, Cherokee and Shawnee's a little bit there in Medford. I'm trying to think of what Olympic schools are a little bit further south. Bishop Eustace, Cherry Hill West, of course, are near us. I mean, there's some schools that Winslow, there's a good example, in all sports. They probably have to travel 45, 50 minutes to get to RV. And RV is probably the newest member of the Olympic. Fly ball, center field, taken in by Matarese, out number 2. So 2 flyouts for the Dragons, and they're 2 up, 2 down. But, yeah, I mean, it is crazy how good the Olympic Conference is. But, again, it's not by accident that they are that good.
There's a lot of big schools in the Olympic Conference.
Exactly.
Where compared to the Colonial, you have some Group 2, Group 1 schools.
Well, the Colonial is kind of – actually, I should say the Colonial is the smallest conference in New Jersey. 12 member schools, and only 10 of them play baseball. Lindenwold and Woodbury field JV teams. I don't even think Lindenwold fields a JV team anymore. I know Woodbury is back to fielding a full JV schedule, but they haven't had a varsity team back since when Teddy Sparks was there in like 2019. But count is 0-2. Edwards rocking and rolling over our conversation. He's dealing at 0-2. Good morning, and that one's outside. Never mind. Going to go with my good morning, good afternoon, and good night, but now you get woken back up in your sleep. It's 1-2. Pitch number 30 for Edwards here. He'll get right back in the delivery with the 1-2. That time, no! Everybody's doing the cha-cha slide in the infield, trying to get back to the dugout. Kingsway's dugout is letting them hear it.
Like half the players were in the dugout.
They just want to get out of there. Here's the 2-2. That time is good. Edwards stares down the Kingsway dugout. He wants them to know it. And the fireworks are starting to be lit here in Audubon as Lucas Edwards shuts down the party. 3-0 after 2. All right, back here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Bishop Eustace 3, Kingsway 0. Bishop Eustace had to play a little bit of chicken in the top of the, bottom of the 2nd inning. As it was 0-2, then it became 1-2, then it became 2-2, and you saw all the people trying to slide into the dugout. They tried to get out of there out of thin air, but count is 0-1 as Eustace leads us off in the top of the 3rd. Some really good hitting today off of Nate Bott in the first couple of innings as Bishop Eustace has really settled into a good groove.
Well, they scored 1 run in their last game. They want to score here and get out of here quickly, come tomorrow and win this whole thing.
Absolutely. Those game times got moved up. Sunday's games are now at 10-1 as opposed to 11-2. 1-2 pitch is downstairs. By the way, Shawnee 4, Eastern 2 in the second inning in an Olympic Conference matchup. Don't have too many other games going on the board right now. That's where Kevin Minnick is at. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Inside.
Got him.
No, ball 4. They didn't have the right scoreboard. They didn't have the right count up. Dominic Perry, I'm going to call you right now and yell at you for not getting the scoreboard right. I don't even know if it's Dom controlling it, but maybe I got to keep a good head count now. By the way, in Cape Atlantic Tri-County crossover, Buna and Glassboro got postponed because they did not have umpires for the game, which that's a little bit concerning. I mean, Buna and Glassboro are in their own kind of like little bubble, but to not have umpire, they had 0 umpires for a Saturday game where there's not too much going on. I'm very surprised by that. Ground ball over towards second base. They tag the runner for 1 on the first double play. They want him to look at it again, though. But they do get the double play. That will be a 4-3 double play. Eustace, again, didn't like the call. But now that sets up shop for the Crusaders, as they'll step in with 2 outs here.
I thought Thorpe was just going to go to first base. I really didn't think he had a chance to turn 2 there.
But he did.
And he takes himself, just tags him out.
1-0 to Matarese after Sullivan grounded into the double play. But, yeah, really good defense there from Kingsway, especially after some defensive miscues on Wednesday when we saw them versus Gloucester Catholic. Have definitely seen some improvement. Line shot. Oh, he caught it! Nate Bott. How about that? He makes the catch right in front of him on a bullet. He's going to be taking some ibuprofen tomorrow morning. It is the end of the inning, going to the bottom of the third, 3-0 Eustace. Bottom of the third. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy with the most organic food products available in South Jersey, along with toys, cages, accessories, and much, much more. Visit today 7 days a week at 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. That one is down. 1-1 to Kingsway.
8-9-1 here for Kingsway. You got to get on the board here. At least one run. Try to keep this game within margin. It's in margin now, just 3-0.
Stevenson on the ground of first, picked up, fair, and retired. Out number one. No. With foul, never mind. I saw Stevenson turn around and go back to the box as he was tagging the bag, but it's 1-2. Yeah, Stevenson and Ford, both rookies on the varsity level. Ford, a junior, caught all 3 games so far this year, including their opening day win over GCIT. 2 homers were hit in that game by the Dragons as they beat the Cheetahs. And there's strike 3. Outside corner, Edwards picks up another strikeout. And that's out number 1. David, how many is he up to now?
2.
Two, okay,
Three.
yeah. So the LaSalle commit with a good preview of what he'll be doing with the Explorers in 2026. Let's take a look at the week ahead on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting as Ashton Ford digs in. On Monday, April 7th, we'll be at the Trenton Thunder Ballpark for our first ever kind of professional stadium game. It'll be the Maple Shade Wildcats and the Holy Cross Lancers, 6 o'clock on Monday. Of course, weather permitting over in Trenton. Tuesday will be a tri-county clash between the Cumberland Colts and the GCIT Cheetahs. Thursday will be a rematch of the South Jersey Group 1 final between the Woodstown Wolverines and Gloucester Lions. Of course, with a little bit of an asterisk because Gloucester is now at Group 2 in the classifications as Ford lines it out to second base. Sliding stop, couldn't come up with it. Ford beats it out, and that's an infield single for the number 9 hitter. As Sullivan had trouble picking it up at second base. And we'll see if that gets charged as a hit or an error. David, you're keeping the book today, so
I'm going to mark it a single. That would be the first.
If he wasn't on his horse getting down to second base, that would have been a base hit. So I agree with you there. Obviously, the home scorecard ends up being the final dictator, but we don't have – the only reason where I would go down to, like, the dugout and confer about scorecards is if, like, a no-hit bid was going on, because we've done that before in the Summer League. And
that was the first hit.
That was their first hit, so – well, there should be more on the way for the Dragons. We'll see what Edwards can do here. They have gotten a couple base runners on here, but back to the top of the order for Logan Taylor. But, like, if it was the 6th inning and Kingsway still didn't have a hit, or if that hit was called an error in the Kingsway book, which I doubt it would be, because usually the home scorekeepers, I mean, nothing against Eustace or Kingsway, but sometimes the home scorekeepers do have a little bit of an inkling, towards their guys. I've seen games where we've had 5 errors go to one team. We go into NJ.com, there's only 1. And I'm like, well, I know I'm not being overly harsh, but umpire was just talking down to the third base dugout, making sure. I think there might have been somebody standing on the outskirts of the dugout that shouldn't have been. Count is 0-1 to the leadoff man and shortstop Logan Taylor. Line drive. There goes your hit situation there, as we don't have to worry about that anymore. Back-to-back singles for Kingsway as Logan Taylor knocks it in the left field.
Good piece of hit and just a rocket through the infield.
Can't get much better than that, especially attacking Edwards here. They have a man in the bullpen, so now they're going to have to see how it will fare going forward. Good catch there. That's Cole Williams, the right-hander, in the pen for Bishop Eustace. Fouled back by Kyle Shields, the third baseman. Williams committed to Army West Point. That's got to be a big commitment there. Oh, they're going to throw back to second. A delayed throw, not in time. Close call. But they get it in there.
Really good move from Edwards there.
Especially with the delayed throw. Yeah, that was really good. Williams in the pen. He had 6 innings in 2024. No earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 1 unearned run in his limited sample size. Outside there, 1-1 to Shields. Yeah, I mean, committing to Army West Point or Army, Navy, or the Air Force, I mean, that's a big ask out of the athletes. I know there was correct me if I'm wrong, there was a running back that's now at Arizona State that transferred from Army that kind of hit the headlines over the offseason because people were like, oh, we didn't know that you could transfer out of the Army. Because the transfer portal has been such a kind of a stain on college athletics. And then
It's a disaster.
yeah, it's always been a disaster, but it's gotten worse over the years. That's 1-2. Like I'll bet you right now, not going to say names, but there's a good 6 or 7 Division I commits on these teams. I mean, who's going to say that no less than 3 or 4 of them are going to transfer after their first year? There's a good chance that that'll happen. Just because people get in over their heads, they get over-recruited more than they're worth because they have to fight with 30 other guys to get to their position. Like, there's some Power 5 commits, Rutgers. How many of those guys across the Olympic and Colonial that are committed to Rutgers are actually going to stay there after year 1? Fly ball foul.
I'm not going to say any team names or names, but there's a player from the Olympic Conference last year that's already in the transfer portal this year.
Yeah.
And he didn't play a single game with this team.
2022, good example. Xavier Massey and Isaiah Pinckney, both Audubon graduates. They committed to Rutgers. Xavier Massey never played a game for Rutgers. Then he just quit baseball altogether, and now he's doing something else at Rowan, like sports medicine. But here's the 3-2. He'll step out. Then Xavier Massey, rather Isaiah Pinckney, went to Rutgers, had like 3 at-bats in a meaningless midweek game against a mid-major, and then entered the transfer portal, didn't find anything. So now he's at Rutgers Camden, and he's getting some extra playing time there. But people would rather have the prowess of playing for a Power 5 Division I or a really, really good mid-major than to actually get good playing time as a youngster. Here's the 3-2. Outside, and the bases are loaded for Kingsway. Lucas Edwards in some trouble, and we'll see if Sam Tropiano pulls the plug here early, as now his backstop, Rogers, will go out to talk to him. Make sure everybody's on the same page. But, I mean, at this point in time, got to think about the fact that Kingsway they're the comeback kids. They've been here before. They were down 5 in 2023, won the game. They were down 3 runs in 2024, also won the game. Now in 2025, in the bottom of the third, they're down by 3 in the bottom of the third. And we'll see what they can get in the tank here with Dylan Rickards as Shields reaches. It's Shields on first, Taylor on second, and then it's going to be the pinch runner, number 15, A.J. Ward, on third base, running for the catcher, Ashton Ford. So Ward comes in for Ford, and it's a 0-1 count to the Wilmington commit, Dylan Rickards. Edwards in a little bit of trouble. 0-1, strike called on the outside corner, 0-2.
Now you got to battle here. Try to just put a ball in play, even a fly ball. Try to score here.
Got to find something to work here as Edwards ahead in the count, 0-2. Strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Rickards goes down on strikes, out number 2. As a beautiful command in the at-bat there by Edwards to shut down the party with the bases loaded. And this would be a big opportunity for Bishop Eustace if they can get out of the jam with the bases loaded and nobody out. Ground ball. This will go out to short. It's bobbled. Throw to second is in time. And by the skin of their teeth, they get out of the jam unscathed. A near error at short turns into a fielder's choice, and Bishop Eustace hangs on. We're through 3-0. Top of the fourth inning here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Bishop Eustace 3, Kingsway 0. As Nate Bott up to 45 pitches, which honestly pretty impressive considering he had 21 in the first inning. Even after a rough second, his pitch count still not that bad.
A double play last inning really helped.
Absolutely. Count is 1-0 to lead off the inning. Strike called to Franco Iannone, the junior, 5'11", 175. Taking over the right field position today, had that kind of impromptu diving catch. Batted .290 as a sophomore. 1 homer, 9 RBIs, 9 for 31. .290 average, 387 slugging. Also had 7 1/3 innings on the hill. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled back to Ford behind the dish. Still 1-2. As we mentioned for the rest of this week, Friday, April 11th, we'll be at Bishop Eustace again versus Seneca. Back-to-back Group 2 sectional champions in South Jersey. And then a doubleheader on Saturday, April 12th. Cinnaminson and Sterling at 11 a.m. And then Pennsville and Haddon Heights at 2:30. Swing and a miss. Throw down to first is in time. And that is out number 1. Bott picks up another strikeout there on pitch number 50.
Third strikeout for Bott.
So both pitchers now at 3 apiece. That brings up the number 7 hitter for the Crusaders. That being, excuse me for 1 second, that's going to be Rosenberg. He'll be followed by Gabe Yates and Gabe Rogers. First pitch to Rosenberg is a check swing. They say no. Definitely didn't go that time. It's 1-0. Bott still working through the motions here. As we said, Bishop Eustace had Williams in the bullpen. Kingsway might be getting somebody out there shortly, especially with this deficit. Got a piece of it that time. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Looked like a changeup. That was good.
Yeah, he's mixing up the pitch selection well. I really like the fact that he's not hammering the zone with one pitch over and over again. He's really keeping a good variety, and now they're paying for it, I'll tell you that. That one skips in.
Well,
It's what I like to call a cricket ball.
Against a team like Bishop Eustace, you have to change it up because if you just throw the same pitch over and over, they're going to pick up on it.
Oh, exactly. I see sometimes in Group 1s, pitchers that maybe are a little bit of a one-trick pony, but you have to have good pitch selection and you have to have a good repertoire in this kind of level, especially against the top-of-the-line team like Bishop Eustace. The count is 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 away. And the pitch. Line shot. Foul. That one hit a tree, almost broke a chair. I was going to say, piggybacking off my last point from a couple innings ago, we've not seen broken windows, but we have seen broken chairs. We have seen branches fall off of trees. We've seen a little bit of everything here in Audubon. But, of course, the 8-time state champions, they'll be playing Camden Catholic at 2 o'clock later today. 2-2. Yeah, got a piece of it, and he'll stay alive. Good at bat here from Rosenberg. Bishop Eustace, after a couple quick innings and a couple quick at-bats, now getting back into the rhythm, as we talked about in the first inning, that had Bott with 21 first-inning pitches.
Yeah.
He's back up to 56, and now 57. That is outside, 3-2. Both teams seem really equally unhappy with the strike zone today.
It's really tight, especially on the corners.
It's just not good. Here's the 3-2. Ground ball, first base side, picked up. And it's in time. Rickards tags the bag. Out number 2. Yeah, I would say I definitely disagree with a lot of the stuff. I mean, we've seen some makeup calls. We've seen some stuff. You just got to call it by the letter of the law. And we talk about umpires a lot on this show because, especially in the outfield, I try not to be overly critical, even though I am currently being critical. It's interesting because we talk about the shortage of umpires that exist in a lot of levels of baseball where JV games are getting canceled left and right because there's a shortage of umpires. And I've said before, in the example of Buena-Glassboro and in the example of a couple of Bridgeton games that have been canceled this year, games at the varsity level, I've said before, in the next 5 years are going to start getting canceled left and right because umpires, there's not going to be enough left of them. If you look at a South Jersey game, as we'll hold that thought until the next inning with a ground ball to first, that's in time to retire the side. Going to the bottom of the fourth inning, Bishop Eustace still rolling but couldn't get anything on the board offensively that time. Still 3-0. Bottom of the fourth inning, this broadcast is brought to you by Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, or Dog Pro Wrestling, New Jersey's best premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying action and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. Visit dawgprowrestling.com. Again, that's dawgprowrestling.com for more information. 0-1.
These last couple innings, Edwards has just looked good. He's just pounding the zone, working quick, controlling his pace.
There's a floater in the right center field base hit. A very good snag there to cut the ball off. And a base hit out to right center by Braden Thorpe starts the offense in the bottom of the fourth for Kingsway as they search for their first run. They've got 4, 5, and 6. Rather 5, 6, and 7 again. It'll be Austin Schmidt, the left fielder now.
I really like that swing. I like people who let the ball travel into the zone and just work the middle away instead of trying to pull everything over the fences.
Sometimes those are the fundamentals that win ball games. Big jump off of first by Thorpe, and it's 0-1. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got, unfortunately, will not be here for the consolation and the championship for the Ralph Shaw. We will be at the American Ball Hockey Alliance tournament for the Veterans Memorial in Egg Harbor Township. Games start at noon with the Penguins, Beavers, Cadets, and Freshmen. So pick off first there, almost went wild, but Edwards at 54 pitches here in 3 innings. Kingsway hasn't gotten on the board, but they certainly have worked Edwards' pitch count up as a strike is called that time 0-2. I think the big difference here between Bott and Edwards is that Edwards has started off these at-bats with early good hitters, pitchers counts, and then, Bott, these Bishop Eustace batters have started out well. They've let those strikes get in there. There's another swing and a miss by Edwards. But, I mean, these guys have just it's been night and day for how both teams have approached these at-bats. You know, Kingsway's had some good works, but not all of them. Bishop Eustace, almost every at-bat has been at least somewhat challenging. This will now bring up Nate Bott, the pitcher.
Edwards is looking really good, and Eustace, they have the game tomorrow, of course, but they can let Edwards ride. They have a deep pitching staff, and next week only 2 games, Wednesday against Shawnee and then Friday against Seneca. So, really, Edwards could go to distance here, 110, if he wanted him to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out, because usually you're thinking of like, okay, I need to rest these guys for how many days and whatnot. As here's a fly ball down the left field line that's foul. But regardless of whether these teams win or lose, they still have to play tomorrow. It just depends on if they're going to be playing Camden Catholic or if they're going to be playing Audubon. And it depends on if you're going to be playing same time or if you're going to be moving it back to 1 o'clock. So it will be a bit of a conundrum to see how Kingsway works it out, because they don't have as deep of a pitching staff. You know, we saw on Wednesday they threw Jake Manifest out there. He could be a candidate. Art Richardson, left-hander, he was phenomenal on Wednesday, shutting down Gloucester Catholic as a rookie. So that one is high. 1-2. Edwards looking to attack the zone some more here versus the pitcher Bott, looking to help his own cause with the center fielder Stevenson on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And no. Edwards slams his hand into his glove. Like we said, both teams have been very unhappy with the strike zone today, and pretty rightfully so. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out. And the pitch. That time, throw down to first. Back pick not in time, but that was a swing and a miss, and it is out number 2 as Edwards picks up, I believe, strikeout number 5 on the day.
6 strikeouts.
6 strikeouts, even better. Here's Stevenson. If you're just joining us, Bishop Eustace put up 3 runs in the top of the 2nd inning, led by a 2-run double by Dante Bell. Here's a ground ball back to the mound on a dribbler. He is safe.
Good decision there not to throw the ball. You throw that ball, you get the third. If you overthrow that could possibly bring in a run.
Absolutely don't want to mess that one up, as now that brings up the number 9 hitter, Ashton Ford, who had a base hit earlier in the ball game. Ford, fly ball, sinking towards left, diving, Iannone, hello! How about it? Franco Iannone in right field with a plenty of web gems here in this ball game. Kingsway leaves 2 on, and another opportunity missed here as they fail to reach and they fail to cross home plate. 3-zip going to the 5th. Top of the fifth inning here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Bishop Eustace 3, Kingsway nothing, as the only runs of the ball game have come in the top of the second inning. First pitch grounded over the mound and into center field. Skipped off a couple of the middle infielders. Stevenson comes in for it. And a base hit to center by Rogers. Leads off the fifth to bring up Dante Bell, who rung the bell in the second with a 2-run double.
Substitution here?
Let's see here.
Different runner at first base, I think.
Different, yeah, because Rogers is the catcher. You catch that number back there? That's single digits?
8, 6.
8 or 6? That would be neither, because we don't have an 8 or a 6.
And then it wasn't an 8 or 6.
Casper the Friendly Ghost. We hear Mr. Softy. Another base hit to center field. Stevenson's got it. That is going to be Bell who gets on. It is number 8.
Yeah, that's a number 8, okay.
But there isn't a number 8 on our roster, so mystery man. So Bishop Eustace with 2 quick runners on. Every year, I always forget that the Mr. Softy truck comes to town, but we're always on the air. And I also just had breakfast. I mean, it's noon on a rainy Saturday, and it's like 55 degrees. I usually don't eat ice cream at, 55-degree weather. Just saying. I know that's surprising, but no, I do not eat ice cream that often. He's trying to contain his laughter over there.
I can't say the same.
Can't say the same?
No.
You strike me as a mint chocolate chip guy.
Definitely not. That tastes like toothpaste.
You haven't had good mint chip.
I've had good mint chip. It just still tastes like toothpaste. I'm a chocolate coffee type person.
Coffee?
Yes.
Coffee-flavored ice cream.
You got to go to Sundays in Berlin, New Jersey, and get the Mississippi mud pie.
That sounds like that name sounds like it would clog my arteries.
It doesn't matter if it's good.
The 1-1 from Bott with 2 runners on is inside, trapped by the catcher Ford. You'd be surprised. I'm a black raspberry chip guy.
I like black raspberry.
It's great.
Yeah.
Get the stuff from Wawa. It's
No, get the stuff from Allura right down the street from Pittman.
They're good too. I'm just saying for like something cheap. Black raspberry chip, the pint from Wawa. You don't get any better than that. Of course, the Grills are very active here down the first base line, as they are every year for the Ralph Shaw. There's our crew down there. There's Mark Wiltsey. Behind the grill is Mr. Tom Quinn. There's John Perosi Sr., John Stockland behind the grill. We'll be getting some burgers for our crew this afternoon. They do make very good burgers, I'll tell you that. 2 and 2. Because there's not a lot of baseball stadiums in South Jersey that have concessions.
No.
It's all football and basketball. And even the basketball ones, not a lot of them have it. Here's the 2-2. Dribbler. Ford caught it with the bare hand. Still 2 and 2.
I haven't seen Kingsway warm up anybody, but
I mean, it just could be behind that green barrier there.
True.
That was built last year.
I think Bott could be coming to the end of the day here. He's at
68.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-2. Grounder foul off of the Kingsway dugout. Rolls back into the field of play. He'll get to pitch 70 here. But like we said, not only do you have to think about Bott as a pitcher, but you also have to think about him as a fielder. He'll probably be playing third base on Sunday. And don't forget that Kingsway also has a decently loaded schedule up ahead. They're playing 4 games in 4 days. They have Washington Township at home on Monday and Triton at home on Tuesday. So regardless of who they play on Sunday, they're going to be playing 4 games in 4 days. Today, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then they play again on Saturday versus Deptford at home. Line drive. Left center field. That drops for a base hit. Eustace will pump the brakes at third. The pinch runner will hold there. And the bases are loaded with nobody out as a base hit to left center off the bat of Roman Fayola will now bring to bat the number 3 hitter for the Crusaders. And that will be, my apologies there, J.J. McLaughlin, the infielder, playing second base today for the Crusaders.
All right, that was a long at-bat because we had a whole ice cream conversation in the middle of the at-bat. And then
Oh, it absolutely was.
And then gets a base hit out of it. Bases loaded for Kingsway.
That's what we do. We have some fun around here. Bill Alvaro, actually, I apologize, not Bill Alvaro, the pitching coach coming out here for Kingsway. Kingsway 1-1 on the young campaign, opening day win over GCIT, and then a loss to Gloucester Catholic that we covered on Wednesday, a final score of 4-0. And don't forget, we'll be on the air again later on today for 2 o'clock, Camden Catholic and Audubon. David Cohen here and right now will be on the call for play-by-play on Game 2. Jake Steidler will be color commentary. But with Mound Visit here being charged to Kingsway, pretty precarious situation. There is an arm warming up down the left field side. Can't get an angle of that number. Let's see if we can see it down there. See if we can take a look. That might be Killian McCaffrey down there. Number 9? Yes, number 9. That looks like that would be Killian McCaffrey. First pitch to McLaughlin is low. Three balls, no strikes. Count is 3-1. That's not right. 1-1. 1-1. Okay. I was like, that's not right. I knew it wasn't right, but I said it anyway.
At least I think it is 1-1.
Well, let's take a look here. Because if he walks, that'll score a run. Strike called.
Because there was base hit and then a mound visit.
Yeah. I don't know what that was all about. I think base hit was on a 2-0 count. I think that's what it was. And then they didn't change it. 2-strike pitch. Ground ball. Count's not going to matter now. That one goes out to second, tags the bag for one. On to first. It is a double play, but the run does score. So productive at bat nonetheless. It puts 2 outs on the board, puts a run across the plate. And it's now 4-0 Bishop Eustace. If they win this game, it will be the first time since 2019 that Bishop Eustace got represented in the final. It will be the first time in 4 years in a row that, since 2019 that Kingsway wouldn't be in the final. Every year after COVID, Kingsway has been represented in the final, and for 3 straight years, it's been Kingsway and Audubon in the final on Sunday. 2022, Kingsway won over Audubon 7-2. 2023 was 7-6 Audubon. They were down by 6 runs. Audubon came back and won the game with a 7-run comeback. And then 2024, Kingsway was a little bit more favorable. They won, I believe it was 8-2 in 2024. Cinnaminson, of course, was in the tournament from 2023 to 24. But after Eric Teasdale left, they made a switch and brought in Camden Catholic. Ground ball, third base side, it's put into play. Throw to first is low, scooped by Rickards, and it's in time. Side retired. Eustace plates one more on a double play, and the inning is over. Going to the bottom of the 5th, here from the Hank, 4-0. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence.
With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Bottom of the fifth inning, Bishop Eustace 4, Kingsway 0 in the first round of the Ralph Shaw tournament. Camden Catholic, some players have showed up here. I think they went with the normal Catholic school approach and they traveled separately instead of taking a bus. Ground ball, third base side, out to short, picked up by Sullivan. Throw is fired on a laser across the diamond for out number 1 as Taylor is retired. 1, 2, and 3 for Kingsway, Taylor, Shields, and Rickards. They'll definitely need some help on the offensive side in the fifth, as even with Edwards still in the ballgame, one could say they're running out of outs.
8 outs to work with, down 4.
A lot of work to do, and that doesn't help there. Swing and a miss. Edwards at 66 pitches. As we said, Cole Williams was warming up for a while. Kingsway still has Killian McCaffrey in the pen, younger brother of Gavin McCaffrey, who won the tournament MVP in 2022 of the Ralph Shaw. 27th annual, though, as we said. Audubon and Kingsway have appeared in the finals for the last several years, from 21 all the way to 24, 4 years in a row, and now Bishop Eustace is looking to find their way back into the limelight and get themselves possibly a date with the Green Wave tomorrow. Remember, Bishop Eustace did play Audubon last year in the first round of the Diamond Classic, Audubon upsetting Bishop Eustace. Fly ball to center, take it in, and it's out number 2. What has helped Bishop Eustace today has been a good defense because, Edwards does have 6 strikeouts, but obviously strikeouts doesn't mean everything. They've hit the ball into play a fair number of times, and they've succeeded at avoiding bad and boneheaded plays. So I definitely like it in that regard.
They looked really clean, and to look clean after losing 8-1 on opening day and bounce back in a short frame.
It's always impressive.
Always impressive. All the kudos to the Crusaders.
0-1 count as Edwards reaches 70 pitches. Like we said, if you're not worried about him throwing on Sunday, as we said, Kingsway, they're the ones that should be a little bit more worried about their pitching usage because they're playing 4 games in 4 days. After tomorrow, Eustace isn't playing until Wednesday. They have a date with Shawnee in the Olympic Conference, and then, of course, the aforementioned Seneca on Friday. Eustace had a very late reaction. They thought the inning was over. They were shocked he didn't check swing. 1-2. Fly ball, right field. Backing up Iannone, he makes the catch, and the inning is over. Bishop Eustace still commanding a shutout as Lucas Edwards with 5 scoreless and 6 strikeouts. As Rickards flies out to right, they shut down a key part of the Dragons' order, and through 5, still 4-0 Bishop Eustace. Top of the 6th inning, Bishop Eustace 4, Kingsway 0. You're watching coverage of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting and the Ralph Shaw Tournament. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, you can drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. Swing and a miss. New right-hander is Killian McCaffrey in the game for Kingsway as Nate Bott's day is done after 5 innings. He gives up 4 runs. If I recall correctly, 3 of them are earned. McCaffrey, the 6-foot, 170-pound right-hander, 2.22 ERA with Kingsway last year. 31 strikeouts, 10 walks, 13 earned runs in 41 innings. Already has 2 2/3 this year. Went scoreless versus GCIT on Monday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Didn't get the call that time. Swing and a miss. He got him. McCaffrey picks up his first strikeout and his second of the year. Out number 1. I mean, Kingsway's just starting to seem like they're getting their groove in, but a little bit late. Like we said, they already gave up 3 runs in the second, gave up another in the 5th, and it just seems like they don't have that same spark that they have in the last couple of years. Now, of course, Kingsway, like we said, they're the comeback kids. They've won on walk-offs here for 2 years in a row, and 2022 is a bit of an anomaly because of the 3-run home run by Carter Williams back in 3 years ago. But, I mean, listen, Kingsway is one of those teams that you can just never count out. They are never to be completely written off, but digging into their bullpen here, they seem like they're getting a bit of step ahead here. However, count is 2-0 to Iannone, who's had some good plays in right field today.
Yeah, going back to the Kingsway point, they still have 6 outs to deal with, so there's still a little bit of time. But after the inning where they left the bases loaded, I kind of felt the energy dip a little bit, which it's tough. It's cold out here, and it's kind of normal for the energy to drop after that. It happens with every team.
And they've left a handful of base runners on today. Bases loaded earlier in the ball game, as you said, and left a grand total of 8 on the base paths. As, yeah, I mean, it's not easy, especially when you know you're going to play tomorrow. And as we said, for Kingsway, you've got to keep that energy up because you're playing 4 games in 4 days. I'm going to say it like a broken record because it's something that baseball teams in South Jersey don't do a lot. It's a bit of a perfect storm for that to happen, but strike is called there. Like, it's not easy to you know, look at that and say, well, why are they playing that? Well, the other 2 games are conference games. Washington Township and the Tri-County Royal, and then Triton on Tuesday. So that one's going to miss. And a free pass given to Iannone to put a base runner on for the Crusaders with 1 away. Bishop Eustace, again, playing either Camden Catholic or Audubon on Sunday. They'll play Shawnee on the road on Wednesday. And then Seneca at home on Friday the 11th before going to PVI for a road game on April 12th. Strike called on the outside corner from McCaffrey. Had some rain earlier in the morning as a fly ball left center field. It is caught. Runner will retreat to first. They will not get the throw back in time. That was actually really close for Iannone. It's out number 2.
That was a hit and run.
Hit and run that almost went wrong, but they're going to hang on to it.
Unofficial line for Bott was 5 innings, 3 Ks, 1 walk, 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned.
Yeah, I don't think that that's that bad, especially against Bishop Eustace. I think that we would be talking about it a little bit differently if Kingsway's run support had come through, especially the fact that they're being shut out by Lucas Edwards. I mean, you're comparing, you know, apples to oranges there. Looks like we're going to have a change for Eustace as the umpire writes down on his scorecard.
Pinch hitter here.
Let's take a look at that jersey number. Looks like 32 from our look. His hands covering his... Looks like that would be Gabe Yates. Of course, Yates was a fielder only, now getting propelled into the lineup here in the top of the 6th. With a 4-0 lead, runner goes. Strike called. Throw down to second base is in time. And they got him to retire the side. Beautiful play down there at second by Ashton Ford, and the inning is over. Going to the bottom of the 6th, it's still Bishop Eustace 4, Kingsway 0.
In life,
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Bottom of the 6th inning. Time is running short for Kingsway. They've got 6 outs, and Lucas Edwards is still in the game. He's commanded 5 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts, and just a handful of hits allowed to the Crusaders, or rather to the Dragons. As Dylan Patero is up. Count is 1-1. That was pitch number 75 for Edwards. As we mentioned before, Cole Williams committed as a right-hander to Army West Point. Ground ball. Diving stop. He doesn't come up with it. This time Sullivan throws it down to first, and it's in time. Out number 1 is a good defensive effort there by Bishop Eustace. Gets the play down. It's out number 1. 4, 5, and 6 for Kingsway in the 6th. As we said, Killian McCaffrey came in the top half of the 6th inning, relieving Nate Bott of his duties after 5. First pitch, breaking ball down and away. .59 degrees at first pitch today with rain in the forecast. We were talking to retiring athletic director Tony Carbone earlier today. It's going to get up to 70 tomorrow, but the rain is probably going to be a little bit heavier than it was today. So they moved the games up an hour. There's a ground ball out to short. Throw to first is on a laser in time. Out number 2. Again, I'm really liking this defensive approach here from Bishop Eustace. They are just hitting the hammer on the head, if you will, hitting the nail on the head with the fact that they're getting these plays down cleanly. It's what I mentioned when we talked to Henry Adams of RV yesterday after his win, that pitchers really appreciate a clean infield. You know, they appreciate the fact that when they can't get strikeouts, they're going to get the play good. Edwards couldn't come up with it. Underhanded flip, and there's your case in point right there. 3 good plays in the infield, and Kingsway's down to their final 3 outs. Bishop Eustace unable to get anything across, but they still lead 4-0 after 6. and Kingsway looking for their last at-bats of the day, as it's been a very productive day for Bishop Eustace. Very good work in the infield. First pitch foul. McCaffrey in for his second inning of relief. Took care of Eustace easily. That will be a hit by pitch. And getting on to lead off the top of the seventh is going to be Yates. So now it'll be Rogers. He'll be followed by Bell. Bell, of course, the X factor on offense for Bishop Eustace today, had a 2-run double in the second as a part of that consequential 3-run inning in the top of the second. That's where the bulk of Eustace's offense came. A double play that scored a run in the fifth was the other run for the Crusaders, but nothing more after that. And with Kingsway shut out through 6 innings, could very well be setting up a Bishop Eustace victory here if the score holds. Camden Catholic's team has arrived in full. Audubon's team trailing in right behind us, as they'll be on the 2 o'clock game. Again, David Cohen and Jake Steidler will be on the call. We're here at the Hank Greenberg Field. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Jake Cohen, Jake Steidler, and special guest Evan McColgan. It's going to be a strikeout that time. No? Just having a quick conversation there. So Bell, after the strikeout, dealing some wisdom to Dante Bell, telling him what he sees out of Killian McCaffrey. I really like that. I like when players do that. I mean, that just shows good team chemistry there. You know, again, David, you went to Seneca. There's a lot that goes into batters talking to each other and having that good conversation of, hey, you just struck out. What did you see? Did you like the fastball? Does he ride it high in his zone? Does he get a good whip on the curveball? You know, what are you seeing out there? Here comes the throw down to second base. The throw is not in time. So it's very important to have that kind of conversation, because if you go in there blind, or if the batter just says, yeah, I don't know what I saw, I couldn't see anything, then that doesn't help you. No. So I like the fact that they're keeping it real in this approach here. The number 9 hitter Rogers giving some wisdom to Bell, who had the 2-run double in the second, but hasn't faced McCaffrey yet. Here's the 1-0. Missed outside, 2-0.
I know from my time at Seneca, you ask, like, can you see the slider out of the hands? Can you see the changeup out of hands? Do you see the fastball over the top? Stuff like that.
Right.
And it really does help.
Especially for a team like Eustace. I would imagine that maybe those conversations are a little bit more than that as well. 2-0. Ground ball hit off of the dugout and goes right to the Camden Catholic side foul. Audubon going to be wearing their bright yellow uniforms that they debuted in 24. The JV team still wears those Oakland A's style green jerseys, which I'm glad that they're wearing yellow, because Camden Catholic's wearing green, and we had a bit of a uniform debacle at RV yesterday because both teams were wearing white and red. There's a fly ball out to right field. It is going to drop for a base hit. Bell with his second knock of the day, and he pokes that one out to right field, his third, that is. And just some really good hitting here on the opening round from Dante Bell. But the 2-run double in the second inning is certainly a big reason why Bishop Eustace is where they are right now. Runner goes. Throw to second. He'll go in standing. Count is 1-0 now. Infield now moving in with the runner in scoring position, Bell. Fouled straight back. Ball, 1 strike. 2-1. That one misses, 3-1. McCaffrey up to 26 pitches in relief. Got the strike that time, 3-2. Again, still good approaches here from McCaffrey. Not too worried about that runner on second base. I mean, Bishop Eustace would like the insurance, but it's more the responsibility of Kingsway to get some runs in the bottom of the 7th and get out of this jam without too much damage. 3-2, lined, right center. That will drop in front of Thorpe. He's got the throw. It's to the plate. It is cut off, and an RBI single scoring Dante Bell makes it 5-0 Bishop Eustace as they get that very, very important insurance run as we go into the 7th with 1 down. Very important that they got that play done, and, well, they did. Can't ask for much more than that off the bat of Faiola.
Good piece of hitting, and another insurance run, 5-0 now, Crusaders.
Now bringing up the number 3 hitter, McLaughlin. Throw over to first, not in time.
But for Kingsway, you got to get out of this inning. No more runs. You can't give up another run.
Yeah, this is kind of like the tipping point, if you will, in this ball game. Because a 5-run comeback, I mean, sure, you could blast a couple out of the yard or have a complete pitching breakdown, but I don't know how much more attainable 6 is. But even then, who knows? Comeback could happen, and then Kingsway would say, well, you fools. And baseball's the one game, especially at the high school level, without a clock. I mean, we talk about in football it's not over till it's over. Well, there is a point where it's over. There's a ground ball out to short, picked up. He's out at second. Might have been safe there, but he is safe at first base. Faiola thinks that he is safe. I think that he's safe, but they called him out, and I think in this point in the ball game they're not going to fight it. It's out number 2. Out number 1.
Bill Alvaro is going to come out and ask it. I think he's going to ask the base umpire if the Eustace player slid into second base and he just popped up right into.
Asking about maybe an obstruction call.
Yeah, he slid right up into Taylor.
It's a good point. I didn't think of that. I mean, Alvaro again. He's not a rookie. 460 plus wins as a head coach. He's been coaching high school baseball since 2002. When he sees a call like that, he'll know it. And obviously, we're not behind the plate, so we can't see or hear exactly what he's saying. But something along the lines of, I think you might be absolutely right there about obstruction, because Faiola did pop up, maybe unintentionally, but he still came up, made contact, and the throw to first was wide. So I wonder if the umpires are going to talk this over. They will. This would be a bit controversial if they overturned it. And there's 2 outs now because there was already an out in the inning. So that would not only take away the run, that would end the inning, if I recall correctly. So, call stands. Yeah, I don't know how that. Ms. Alvaro talking it over. Didn't get the call to go his way. Two outs. The runner holds at first rather.
Should be 6-0.
Well, the run scored now, so it's 5.
The 5th run scored on.
Oh, on the ground out by Bell.
It's 6-0.
Yeah, it should be 6. Yeah. I'm sure Tropiano will get that fixed. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Ground ball. Second base. Right to him. Throw to first is in time. Side retired. Still some work to do for Kingsway as Bishop Eustace adds 2 more. 6-0. Bottom of the 7th. Six nothing. Somebody's got a speaker going. There we go. They cut it off. 0-1 is the count. Bishop Eustace looking for the first time since 2019 to get into the Ralph Shaw final. And Lucas Edwards looks like he's going to go to distance unless there's an issue. I mean, I think with Bishop Eustace, they're going to stretch out their pitching core here. I like it. I like the strategy that they're going with, especially with the news that they're probably going to be playing in the championship game on Sunday. That one ricochets off of the Kingsway dugout.
Number 66, I think it is, warming up on the right field line.
Yeah, he's been on and off for a little while. It's Cole Williams, the Army commit. Outside, 3-2. Feel a little bit bad for Kevin Minnick. He's over at Shawnee and Eastern. It's an hour 45 into the game, and it's the 4th inning. Ooh, just slow and grueling. Up high, ball 4. So a leadoff walk has set the stage for the Kingsway Dragons to have some competition here, and Sam Tropiano coming out as the free pass given to number 19, Christian Finelli.
Just the 3rd walk for Edwards, but the first since the 3rd inning.
And they will take the ball away from Lucas Edwards. His day is done after 6 shutout innings. He gives everybody on the mound a bump, a fist bump, and a high five or a hug as an phenomenal performance by Lucas Edwards to, for the most part, shut down Kingsway. He's taken out, as you said, David, after his 3rd walk. The Army commit, Cole Williams, will come in to try to crusade into a victory. Still 6-0 going into a pitching change presented by Garden State Pet Center. We'll be right back.
Ryan Nutley, who has 3 RBIs so far, is up on deck as here's a fly ball to center field, going back to the wall. It is gone! 3-run home run, Steve Schaefer. He rockets one out, and it's 9-2. First home run for Schaefer this year, the 2nd hit at home by a Scarlet Rat. He's donning the number 34 and the shortstop for this one. First pitch. There's a line drive into center field. That one is going to drop, and it's going to go to the outfield wall. 1 run will score. Spence is going to make a huge arc around third. She will score to make it 3-0. And here comes the runner to score. It's an inside the park home run for Ella Hayes to make it a 4-0 game. A 3-run inside the Parker to the 2.
BB and Copsetta trading a couple looks. They know what's going on. Full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs.
Lucas Edwards' day is done. Cole Williams is in to follow. The commit to Army West Point. Fires outside with a runner on. Finelli walked. And now a little bit of extra life in the tank for Kingsway. The final line for Lucas Edwards, 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 4 hits, 3 walks, no runs. 2-0 is the count. As Kingsway will look to, for better or for worse, avoid a shutout. They would fall to 1-2 in the young campaign. Remember, they started out last year 10-0. They were one of the last undefeated teams in South Jersey. Went a record of 11-1 in the month of May. And already with a loss tacked on this season versus Gloucester Catholic. That pitch is a strike from Williams, 3-1. They went 15-9 last year. I'm sorry, that was 2023. They went 17-9 in 2024. Their first loss was April 26th versus Lenape. Strike called, 3-2. They made it to the quarterfinal round of the Diamond Classic, lost to underdog Northern Burlington, who went on a wild run. Made it to the semifinals. Lost to Delsey. That one's going to be a walk. The runner got down to second on a jump, but it's not going to matter with a free pass. So getting aboard that time is, again, number 13. So they put in some new guys. That's Jeff Schwantz. And now it'll be number 15. So they're putting in 3 new guys. It's A.J. Ward batting. And they're going to have a pinch runner at first. So it'll be Cam Stevenson running. So, again, I will gladly listen to somebody explain to me how high school substitution rules work, because they're basically the Wild West. I don't understand it. Stevenson was the center fielder.
Yeah, he got pinch hit for.
And then he came back in as a pinch runner. I don't understand why you can do that.
So he gets pinch hit for.
Yeah.
He re-enters into the ball game. The pinch hitter is now, they're dead. They can't come back in.
Okay. So that runner that got on the walk, Jeff Schwantz, now can't come back in.
That's correct.
I don't understand why you can do that in the first place. I mean, they've got, like, in college you can't do that.
Now
there's no courtesy runner in college.
If Stevenson got pinch hit for again, then he's done.
Okay. I mean, I guess that the way that helps is, like, for Group 1s that only have, like, 4 or 5 players on the bench that can hit, and that you're not depleting the roster. I'm just not a fan of it. I think that it's way too lenient, in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. There's a reason why I'm not an umpire. It's the 1-2 now. 6-0 ball game. However, Kingsway threatening with 2 runners on. Ward takes a curveball that reached low Earth orbit. It's 2-2. And in the back of your mind, obviously it's still very early in the inning, but in the back of your mind comes up the walk-off comeback wins from 2 years ago and from last year. Here's a ground ball out to short. He tagged the runner. Throw to first is in time. And just like that, 2 runners are retired, and Bishop Eustace is now a handful of steps closer to a win. And speak of it, as we go to the top of the order for Logan Taylor, as soon as we mention, talk about a comeback, 4-3 double play. Retiring the catcher Ford. That might have been why Stevenson came back in as a pinch runner, because when Schwantz came in as a pinch hitter, he was hitting for the 8 spot, and then Stevenson came in to kind of reclaim his own slot in the batting order. There's a swing and a miss by Taylor, 0-1. There is a runner on third for Kingsway. Winner of this game will play the winner of Camden Catholic and Audubon at 2 o'clock. Right now, just about 1:04. Audubon waiting in the wings. On the left side of the dugout, Camden Catholic in the darker green jerseys right behind him. 0-1 to Taylor. Upstairs again. One and one. Swing and a miss that time. 1-2. And now just a quick meeting to make sure Williams and his backstop are on the same page. One ball, 2 strikes. The commit to Army West Point. Cole Williams looking to shut it down after 6 scoreless from Lucas Edwards. Swing and a miss! And for the first time in a long time, Bishop Eustace will play in the title game on Sunday. 6-0 the final. They shut down Kingsway. And for the first time since at least 2021, the Crusaders will have a seat at the table on Sunday. 6-0 final. Player of the game presented by Dog Pro Wrestling, Lucas Edwards. 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. And time of game, 2 hours, 6 minutes. Man, that was a good game. And Bishop Eustace, listen, they put 6 more runs in the box score than the other team, but that was an excellent display of what Bishop Eustace is all about. They hit the ball well, they pitched the ball well, and what happens when both of those come together? You get a good ball game and a win.
Yeah, really good job. They did all things right. They played great defense. They made 0 errors in the ball game, according to my notes, and they had 10 hits. So you hit the ball well, you play great defense, you pitch well. Lucas Edwards and Bishop Eustace get a great win, and they move on to the Ralph Shaw Championship tomorrow afternoon.
Again, as we said, the last 3 years in a row was Kingsway and Audubon. And now Audubon will have a chance against Camden Catholic to face somebody new, the Crusaders, a team that they faced in the first round of the Diamond Classic last year. Again, don't forget, if you're tuning into the second game between Camden Catholic and Audubon, click on the link on your live tab above this game that says Camden Catholic and Audubon. Game time scheduled for 2 o'clock today. We'll keep an eye on the time, and we'll see what we've got in store for Game 2. From our entire crew here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Liam Nolan, my producer, Jake Steidler, and my color commentator, David Cohen. I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you guys in just about an hour from the Hank Greenberg Field. Welcome home. Bishop Eustace wins 6-0. I apologize. Don't leave yet. We're going to interview Lucas Edwards in just a moment. All right, our Dog Pro Wrestling, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators player of the game is Lucas Edwards. The commit to LaSalle through 6 innings with 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 4 hits, and no runs. First time in a while that Bishop Eustace is going to the championship game on Sunday for the Ralph Shaw. Very exciting moment for you guys. And obviously the last couple of years, Kingsway didn't have your number, but they had a lot of comebacks. How does it feel to shut them down today?
I think we were probably 0 for our last 4 against them.
I think it was 2019 last time you were there.
Yeah, we lost them twice in 1 year and then 2 times in the Shaw again. So getting out here and beating them is great. It feels amazing.
It's the closest thing that you have to a rival that's not in the Olympic Conference. So it's a little bit refreshing to see that kind of success here. And regardless of whether you play Camden Catholic or Audubon on Sunday, it's going to be important that you guys stretch out your pitching, especially because Tropiano had you go for 6 today. One of the big things about today's conditions were that the rain was coming in early and then it stopped, but it was still a little bit inconsistent. How did you adjust to that out there and still find a way to keep a good grip?
I just wanted to throw strikes and have my defense make plays for me, because I have a lot of confidence in them, and just throwing strikes, trying to get rollovers or pop flies. You saw a lot of great plays today.
Oh, yeah, from Iannone specifically, yeah.
Yep, so just anything that they can hit and put in play was key, because the ball was obviously a little wet.
And it's not like Major League Baseball where you're switching out a ball every 6 pitches. Sometimes what you're working with is a little bit scuffed up. So, no, but, we talked with Henry Adams, the Rancocas Valley pitcher, yesterday after their game, and one of the things that I talked to him about was how important it is to have a good infield and have trust in your infield. How important is it to you that you have a very good infield back there with McLaughlin and Sullivan and everybody over there? How important is it to you to have that trust in the infield behind you?
Super important. I have all the trust in the world for them. Any ground ball that's on the ground, I know that they'll get it. All those guys are good. Bell, McLaughlin, Mason, Max, And if a ball goes on the ground, I'll know they'll make the play. And that's just a confidence booster, because get outs and
And that's always good. Of course, Lucas, you're headed to LaSalle in 2026, the rejuvenated program there over in Philly. So it'll be fun to see you guys work it out with the Explorers in 2026. But one last question for you. Now that you guys are having your ticket punched into the title game on Sunday, how do you feel about your team going forward? You guys had a tough loss to Cherokee in the opening game of the season. Now you get a little bit of a get back here versus a very tough Tri-County opponent going into either Camden Catholic or Audubon on Sunday.
Just keep building momentum and playing the next game, 1 game at a time, 1 pitch at a time, and we'll be good, Lots of momentum going forward right now.
And that's always great to hear. Lucas, thank you very much. We're going to do a little DWB tradition. We're going to have you sign the bottom of the scorecard anywhere in this area. Just make it nice and big, because you'll be doing a lot of those over in LaSalle with the Explorers. Lucas Edwards, your player of the game, presented by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators at dogprowrestling.com. There it is, 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, and no runs allowed in the shutout. They're going to have to go catch the bus, so thank you very much, and best of luck tomorrow. And that'll be all for us on this Saturday opening broadcast. We'll see you guys in just a couple of minutes for Camden Catholic and Audubon at 2 p.m. Have a good one, folks.